Welcome to Bob in the Garden, Episode 2. It is really early in the morning right now, and I am not used to getting up this early. But I'm a gardener. Gardening is a form of farming. Farmers get up early, so here I am. That's how early I'm up this morning. There's no other comedian in the world that's up this early. That is the moon. We've got a lot to cover today, so let's get to it. First, I want to thank everyone for watching Episode 1 and commenting. I got some really great suggestions from experienced gardeners on the YouTube page and gardening forums and Facebook and Twitter. So let's take a look at what I did as a result of those suggestions. Bok choy. Bok is a Chinese word meaning vegetable. Choy is a Chinese word meaning lettucey type vegetable. Bok choy. That tip came from Garden Dipples on YouTube. Thanks, Garden Dipples, for that tip. I have a fly in my face. Don't stand in the garden. On YouTube, Masundo suggested that after seeing my background photo is me standing in the garden. And when they said that, I thought, well, normally I wouldn't stand in the garden. I just did that for the photo. But then I realized that when these plants come up, anytime I have to work in the middle of the bed, I'm going to have to get up in there and stand in the garden. So the idea is that you don't want to be trampling around where those root systems are, which I totally understand. If I'm a little tiny plant with a little root system that's just trying to survive and a guy my size is walking around, I'm going to be really mad. So Masundo's suggestion is that I raise these beds up to waist level so I can just stand outside and reach in and work in the garden, which is a great idea. It's going to take a lot of construction, but I want to try to do it maybe this summer. So Masundo, thanks for that suggestion. One of the viewers suggested that I get this thing called BT, which I'm going to get right here to get rid of caterpillars and aphids and stuff. $14.99. So this BT stuff wasn't cheap, but it's going to last me forever. You just mix like half a teaspoon in with a full bottle of water, and you got a bottle of the stuff. And it's organic. You just spray it on your tomatoes, and it gets rid of worms and moths and things like that. So thanks very much for that suggestion. If you remember from last episode, the birds were coming in and stealing my peas out of the ground. Like, I don't know how they know they're there, but they were doing it. So all I've done is gone to the garden store and bought bird netting. You probably can't see it, but it's there. I've replanted the peas, staked the netting down, and that should handle it. Some people have suggested that the birds know the peas are in the ground because they're watching me, which is probably true. Creepy. Anyway, the suggestion of the netting came from my mom, and that's not a YouTube subscriber name. That is my actual mother. So thanks, Mom. I got a message from my friend Chase suggesting that I do a knitting show next. Apparently gardening shows lack excitement. Respectfully, I disagree. Exciting, right? Stay tuned for more excitement. But in the meantime, let's talk about salad. Now here's what I did in these two boxes. One of them is planted really sparsely, the other one is planted densely. I followed the directions in the packet, but I fudged sort of both ways just to experiment to see what would happen. Now the one that I planted densely is coming in, and this lettuce over here, take a look at this. It's coming in like crazy. Now, I knew that I just sprinkled way too many seeds, probably, but I didn't expect them all to come up, I guess. So, look at this. So I don't know if I need to weed some of them out, or if I need to transplant some of them, or if I just let them go, or what the deal is. I feel like the Octomom, like looking at them going, this is great, but what do I do with all these extras? So, somebody tell me how I handle that. At least they're coming up. I'm excited that stuff's coming up. Here's an update on my artichoke. I just pulled some leaves, those brown gross leaves. Remember last episode I was having that problem with that thing? I think that it probably was just a fungus, but check this out. This is the same plant. It's looking so much better once I pulled those leaves. It still has some of that brown gross stuff, which maybe is just a fungus, but it's looking better. I'm liking the artichoke. I think we're going to have some nice artichoke in the next year or so. So obviously the idea for the show is to get gardeners to come on and give suggestions of what I can do differently or better. That way I can learn, but also viewers that are new to gardening can learn along with me. So the questions for the day are this. Number one, let me know if you see anything that I'm doing wrong or should do better. But also, what do I do about the dense lettuce that's coming in? How do I transplant that or weed it or let it grow, or what do I do? And then also, how would you have planted these boxes differently? I just did rows, but I'm realizing that I could have taken advantage of the space better. Obviously, I have a ton of space here, but I'd like to plant these two boxes as though I don't have a lot of space. Garden Dimples on YouTube mentioned square foot gardening. I have a book that talks about square yard gardening that probably has some really good suggestions, but I'd like to know what you guys would do. By the way, just so you know, if you comment on the YouTube page, I will call you out by name and give you credit by name. If you comment or send me a suggestion via one of the gardening forums, I won't call you out by name because I'm going to assume that maybe you want a little anonymity. Because, you know, obviously if you comment on YouTube, your name is there anyway, so it doesn't matter if I say your name. So anyway, thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate your comments, and I'll see you next week.
Boom! Oh man, did you see that? Jeez, gardening shows are awesome.